Hey everybody, welcome back to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron. Today we're going to get back on Longstep. It's made it back from the body shop getting the bed put on. Just needs a little bit of adjustment, and the paint's not completely done. Once I get done with what I'm doing, it's going to go back over there and get buffed out and whatnot. But we cut out a Chevy script, bolted it to the tailgate, made our own cedar for the bed, and the bed is on. Now I got it back, I can start hammering away on it again and get some stuff done. So I'm gonna start getting set up here and we'll go from there. Okay, I thought I recorded jacking the truck up and putting the tire on the other side, but I guess I didn't push the button hard enough to record or something. So the other side is on, but I wanted to show you guys putting the new wheel on. So I'm going to go ahead and change out this side, and then we'll set it down and see what it looks like. Just pop this old one off, and then we'll throw the new one on. We're just using these plain chrome acorn style lug nuts, nothing special. The thread pattern's 1/2 by 20, which is factory on a square body. And we're going to be switching the studs over to 1/2 by 20 in the front, so we can run, or so we got matching pattern all the way around. Got that on. Bring you guys over here where you can see it a little more straight on. We'll set this thing down and see what it looks like. It really made quite a bit of difference. Partially because the other tires were flat. But it's got quite a bit of a stance to it, but that's what he wanted. So that's going to work out fine. Raised it up a little bit, not too much. So we'll get ready to change out the wheel studs and stuff on the front here, and then we'll see what that looks like. Okay, I got it jacked up. I got the jack stands under it, and I didn't go get the right socket for these. So give me a minute, I'll go get what we need and then we'll start working on it. Okay, we got the right tools now. Go ahead and get this old tire off. I went ahead and looked when I was jacking it up, and if I turn them so they're down at the bottom, I can pop these out without taking everything apart. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll pop this one out, turn it down, pop it out, so on and so forth. Okay, these lug nuts that we got to put in here, they are the threads 1/2 by 20 like the rear, but the shank is bigger to fit this rotor. Now, I don't have a regular 1/2 by 20 square body one to show you, but this spline part is fatter in these rotors than it would be on a stock square body rotor. Just double checking these to make sure they're the same before I force them in there. I'm going to go ahead and put these new studs in, and then we'll be able to put the tire on with the matching lug nuts for the rear. There's a lot of different ways you can go about putting these back in, and the way I'm about to do it, a lot of people will tell you the wrong way, and that you can damage or weaken your studs by doing it this way. But I've been doing it this way for a long time, and I've never had one break, never had an issue. So I'm taking one of my lug nuts that I took off of the back and putting it on here backwards so it's flat, and putting some washers behind it to help square it up. And then I'm going to take my impact, and I'm not just going to powerhouse slam them on there. I'm going to kind of just slowly pull it in. Pulling through, we're almost there. You always want to make sure you check at the back, so when you get close, you stop. Alright, that one's all the way in. So, we just got to go ahead and do that 9 more times. Alright, I got to go get another package of lug nuts. I'll put the other 3 on here. I'm not going to make you guys sit and wait for me while I go do that. They're not gone, they're in the parts room, but I'll go ahead and finish this one up. I'll go ahead and do the other side, and then I'll get back with you guys and show you what it looks like. Okay, I don't think you guys are ready for this I definitely believe that this is the right wheel and tire combo for this truck. And I'm really excited. It looks pretty darn good. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn you guys, no, just kidding. Okay, I'll turn you guys around and show it to you. It lifted it up a little bit more than I thought it was going to, but not too bad. I got the beauty rings on, just on this side, because he took one of them with him when he was doing the wheels. So I still got to get it back, and I haven't got the center caps yet. But we got factory metal center caps, the real ones. So they should be here real soon. I can get them on too. But I'm super excited, stoked, whatever you want to say. I think it looks great. I'll show it to you again. Here's an overall view. Truck sitting good and level. Got the nice big tires on it. Man, it's really coming together. Can't wait to get it started up and back it out of here. So enough talking, I'm gonna get back to work. Okay, I been doing some cleaning up and painting the parts that have to go on now that I got the bed back. I can mount all the rear lights so I can wire them in. And so we got all new lenses and gaskets for the lenses and all that for the tail lights, but we're going ahead and using the same bases. And so I got them all repaired and cleaned up and painted. And then there's covers that go inside the fenders, I'll show you in a minute. So if rocks and whatnot come up off the tire, it doesn't hit the back of the light and break it. So this is our tail light housings. And then these pieces here, I haven't painted that one yet, but these pieces here are the covers that go over the inside of, cover the back of the lights in the fender. The step side fenders on the 73 and possibly 74 had red fender markers back here. And as far as I know, they were the only years of the step side that did that. When you get into 75, 76 and up, none of them had them that I've seen. I could be wrong, I don't know everything. But that I've seen, they don't have them. But those brackets that I just showed you that I painted, they go back here. The light goes in from the front, and then they bolt into the same hole here that the light does. So the clip that the screw goes into actually goes on the back piece. You push it up against the back and then run the screw through, and it pinches it all together. So got those done. I got to make some adjustments to the bed. It's not sitting on there exactly the way I want it to. So I don't want to put the rear bumper or anything like that on until I get that done. Okay, we're back here in the back now. We're going to put the fender marker lights in. This is our backing piece that I showed you over there earlier. I was painting. It goes back here. So we're going to go ahead and put a light bulb in our pigtail and put our pigtail in our light. That way I can go underneath inside the fender here and just wire it up, and I don't have to take the whole assembly back off when I go to wire it, which is going to be in the next day or two anyway, so it's not a big deal. So we got that, put my bulb in my pigtail, put my pigtail on, and then I got my backer piece, and you take these little, they're called seat clips, so you can thread screws into them, and then there's this slot below this hole. You take this little clip here, slide it up on that, and it makes a, I'm not going to say threaded hole because it's not really threaded, but it makes a hole that a screw can screw into. We're going to do the same thing on the bottom one. And this is where the fun part starts, because now you got to try to hold the piece on the back with the piece on the front, or with the light on the front, and start the screws. So I don't really want to leave that hanging on the body because it's fresh paint, but it's not scratching it, so we'll be alright. Oh hey, look, it holds itself in. That makes life easy. You don't want to tighten the bottom or the top. You want to bring them both in kind of even. Then once you get them both snugged up there, then you go ahead and tuck them down. And that's that. We'll go ahead and do the other side, and then I want to go ahead and mount the taillights too. We can get them set up. Alright, I got my taillight housings that I showed you guys I was painting earlier. I'm going to go ahead and get this tape off. So, they turned out good. They're nice, smooth, shiny. One thing that I recommend doing, they don't come this way, but I always do it, is I take some bright aluminum or some bright silver paint, and I don't just do this on these, I do it on any kind of backing to a bulb that has a lens over it, because you kind of make it reflective and it helps refract the light out, so it makes your lights brighter. So I always do it. Not saying it helps, but it seems to make the lights brighter. So I'm just going to take these. I got some new hardware for them, and they just got these two studs on the back. They go through this little bracket right here. They don't come with locking nuts on them. They just come with those little, I call them star washers. I don't know what the actual name for them is, but I'm putting locking nuts on them just because I feel better about it. And these studs coming through the back, the reason they got those star washers on there is because these are your ground for your lights. So if you don't have a good conductivity, then your lights will be dim or they won't work. And those star washers, when you tighten the nut down, it kind of cuts into the paint and exposes a little bit of bare metal where it can touch and make a good ground. And that's all there is to that. Got to put a bulb in it. We'll put the gasket and the lens on. There's also reverse lights that go. Probably can't see, the camera's too high, but on this other little bracket right below this bracket. I don't have the reverse lights yet. We ordered them, but they're back ordered or something. They haven't come in yet. So I'm going to go grab a bulb, get the gasket and the lens, and we'll throw that on. Okay, I'm trying to do a bunch of the outside stuff to finish up on the truck. I don't want to start on the interior yet because the glass hasn't come in yet, and I don't want to put the interior in with no windows just in case we got to roll it outside and keep the extra dust off of it and stuff like that. I want to kind of wait, do the interior till we get the glass in. So as you saw in the other part of the video, I got side markers on, got the tail lights on. We're still waiting for the backup lights. Got the wheels and tires on. Just doing little stuff here and there. I still got a ton of parts to put on, so we got plenty of stuff to keep us busy. Next thing I'm gonna do right now, we got these sports style mirrors. These aren't necessarily my favorite mirrors, but this is what came on the truck, and it's already got the holes in the doors for them. So they come with new gaskets, new mounting brackets, and all the bolts. So we're gonna throw those on real quick, and then maybe we'll start working on the rear bumper. Okay, so we got our little gasket or grommet or whatever you want to call it here. This is our mirror mounting bracket. It's got the hole where it holds the mirror on. You want to make sure that faces towards the back. And then it also came with screws. Put our gasket on. And put it with the gasket first and then the bracket. And then want to make sure you get these screws good and tight, but you don't want to over tighten them because it'll strip out where they bolt in the door. So good and snug. And we'll take our mirror, and if you look here, it's got this angled little bracket here that hooks in on this little tab, and then there's a screw hole right here, and this tab is threaded. So you hook this in like so. Get that good and tight. The mirror's going to sit up like that. And that's going to be it. So we'll go over and do the same thing on the other side. And we'll have our mirrors on. Okay, I mentioned a little earlier in the video that I had to make some adjustments to the bed. And I just wanted to go into that a little bit further and explain it to you guys. The fuel tank that I put on here is a Holley Sniper aftermarket tank. It's stock appearing, it fits in the stock location, it fits in the stock brackets, it's basically a stock tank. The difference is where the level sensor mounts in the tank is directly underneath one of the cross braces for the bed. So if the bed was bolted all the way down on the frame like it's supposed to be, that cross brace would be hitting the stud where the wire goes on the fuel level sensor. So when it went over to the body shop to put the bed on, regardless, he put some spacers in between the bed and the frame so that it wouldn't hit. So by adjusting the bed, I didn't take the bed back off. I took all the bed bolts out, I lifted it up, slid 2x4s in between the bed and the frame so I could get some room. And I went back into that brace, and it's like a U-shaped brace that goes down on there, sits on the frame, and it hangs off the edge of the frame to support the edge of the bed floor. But I had to go in and relieve about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch off of it so that that stud for that fuel level sensor could fit in there. And I never saw this truck with the bed on it. When I got it, it was just a frame with a motor and trans. So I had never been underneath it. And when I put the fuel pump sending unit in, I turned it so the hoses, one of the hoses went back and then looped back forward, because that was the easiest way to get to the hoses with the cab on. So I figured if anything ever had to be done with it, it would be the most accessible. Well, that made the hoses run underneath that brace, and when you mounted the bed down, it smashed the hoses in between that same brace and the fuel tank. So I lowered the tank down a little bit, jacked the bed up, I relieved that brace for the fuel level sensor, and then I just reclocked the pump sending unit so that the hoses went, one hose went straight in and the other one kind of angled forward. And I didn't have to change any wiring or anything like that. It all just worked. But that's what I was talking about when I said I had to do some adjustment on the bed. I basically just had to clearance a little bit of stuff and then mount it the proper way. So nothing anybody did wrong, it just the way things worked out. So I've got 3/4 of a day to a day in fixing that, but now we're done. So we can move on and get some other stuff done. Now that the bed is mounted and everything's the way it should be, there is a vent on this fuel tank, and I'm going to try to show it to you. By the way, I didn't show you guys any of the stuff I was doing to the bed because I couldn't even really see what I was doing half the time. There's no way I would have been able to get a camera in here so you could actually see. But if you can see this with the lighting, this brace right here on the other side of the frame where it went over the fuel tank, that's where I had to relieve it. I basically just had to trim this lip up and it was fine. And this was spaced out about 1.5 inches, so I had to bring it back down. From the factory, there's nothing in between the bed and the frame. It just mounts straight to the frame. And it has to be like that so the height with the body line is right, and because the tail light's ground through the bed, so the bed has to be touching metal on the frame for the ground to go through. But anyways, this is the tank vent, and it has to be higher than the highest point of the tank so fuel doesn't come out of it. And I got this nice U-brace here, so what I'm going to do is make a bracket that'll bolt to the bottom of this and have a hole in it. This, trying to do this one-handed, this vent comes apart, so I just gotta make a bracket and drill a hole in it that's that size, and then this vent kind of becomes a bulkhead fitting. So I'm going to make a bracket that goes across here. If you can see, goes across this bottom of the U. I'll drill a couple holes in it to hold it, and then I'll stick this up through there. I'll put the vent on the bracket before I bolt it to the truck. But so sorry if you can't really see, there's not much light under there. But that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and make a little bracket. I got to take some measurements on that, see what size it needs to be, and then we'll fab something up. Okay, I took some measurements. I got this piece of steel here, 16 gauge. Doesn't have to be nothing too thick or anything like that. It's literally just holding that vent. So the width across that brace is 2 3/4 inches. So I want to go So I'm making it 2 3/4 to fit the whole width of the brace, and then I'm going 2 inches the other direction so that it's got the size of that backing washer that's on the vent, which is 1.5 inches, so it gives me about 1/4 inch on each, all the way around it. So we'll go ahead and mark this out. You guys have probably seen me use this bandsaw in other videos, and I just want to say it's the best thing I've ever gotten. This table from Swag Industries, it's not sponsored or nothing, I don't even know the guys. It just, for what the Portaband cost and for what this table cost, you can't touch a bandsaw for that, and I use this thing almost every day. And sometimes it's a little frustrating because of the size gap here, trying to get bigger stuff through, but you can usually always turn your metal around to get it to where it'll work. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out real quick. That's my piece. I know that I'm going to have my holes over here. I don't really need to take any measurement on them. I'm just going to do them because then I'll take this bracket over and put it up against the frame, and I'll probably just run self-tappers through there. Or I can use this as a template to mark it and do that. Next thing I'm going to do, find a drill bit that's the size of this or a little bit bigger than this, and then I'll center that, drill this, and I'll drill the 4 holes to mount it, and then we'll just clean it up and put it in there. Okay, I found my center on this and marked it. I'm going to go ahead and chuck it up in my vise here for my drill press. Sometimes this works good pinching metal in here, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see how it does today. I'm going to let that cool off for a second. I'm going to run over and slide it onto that threaded part of the vent just to make sure it fits in there and we don't need to make it a little bit bigger. And then we'll get back to it. Okay, I went and checked and the hole's big enough. Everything's going to work okay. I'm going to take the belt sander here and clean this up. Alright, cleaned it all up, radius the edges. I'm going to stick it in a vise and just take a regular drill and put 4 holes in here close to the edge where I can screw it in up there, and then we'll be ready to mount it. Okay, got that all drilled, it's ready to go. I just got to clean it up a little bit and then I'm going to shoot some paint on it. And I'll do you guys a favor and not make you sit here and wait for paint to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and clean it up and paint it, and then we'll move on to something else. Alright, I took a little break from the hard work because I'm feeling lazy today. So I brought the center caps over to me yesterday, So I got them all cleaned up and put on. They had GMC buttons in them, so I had to switch them over to Chevy buttons. And I can tell you right now, that's the best adhesive known to man, whatever they used to hold those on there. But we got them off, we got them cleaned up, and we got the new ones on, so they're all done and installed. Next thing I'm gonna do is finish the stereo install. The stereo itself is already installed and wired in, but I didn't have the speakers. So, sorry, I'm getting old. Now we got the speakers. We're gonna put this dual pod up here in the front, and then we've got the brackets to put speakers in the back, but we're gonna have to modify those a little bit. We'll do that here in a minute. So what I did here is I put this speaker in, laid it all the way down like it's gonna be, and then I marked holes up here where the holes are. So I'm gonna drill out the holes, and then I'm gonna put that speaker in from the bottom so it doesn't have that 3/8 inch plastic plate on the top and make it real tight against the dash. I'm just gonna mount it underneath so the dash pad clears nice. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm gonna drill those and mount that speaker, and then we'll start working on the corner speakers, and then we'll hook them up. Alright, so got my speaker up there, got my holes drilled, got my bolts started. All I got left to do is just tighten the screws down. So I'll go ahead and tighten those down, and then we'll move on to the corner speakers. Okay, we got our dash speaker all done. I'll show you in a second. The next thing we're gonna do is the corner speaker add-in. And once again, the lighting's terrible. But we got these brackets. This is for the passenger side, and they're made for a C10. They sit up in the corner. You screw them in, and you screw your speaker to it. Now, with that being said, easy, right? Screw them in, screw the speaker in, wire them up. And that would be the case, but these are made for 5x7 inch speakers. And the speakers that were ordered for me to put in the truck are 6x9s. I believe you can get these corner brackets for 6x9s, but with as hard as it's been to get any C10 parts lately, I shouldn't say any. Some stuff's not that bad. Some stuff is absolutely terrible. I've never had so much trouble in my life. But I'm gonna modify these to fit those speakers. I can get it done pretty quick and easy, and just be done and not have to order other stuff and wait for it. With that being said, if any of you have tried to put big stuff into small holes, not that easy for some of us, or some of you, or whatever. So I'm gonna make a template out of cardboard that will fit the 6x9 speaker perfectly, and then once I get that done, I'll lay it on my bracket that's going in the truck, and we got to make sure that it's in the right spot and it sits in there right, so the magnet on the speaker doesn't touch the truck cab, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna get some cardboard, get some stuff together, and we'll start making our templates. Alright, I got my speaker. Got a piece of cardboard, which happens to be the box the speaker came in. It was awful nice of them to send me some building materials. I appreciate it. So what I'm going to do is, if you can see this, there's a lip around here, and that's the speaker sits flat on this lip here, and this will fit inside. So this is going to take some time and a lot of back and forth, but what I'm going to do is measure the inside here, where the part that of the speaker that slides in, which is about 8 3/4, Then I'm going to make a mark here on my cardboard. And then I'm going to measure over. Well, this piece of cardboard ain't going to work because that's cut out. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is find a piece of cardboard that'll actually work, and then we'll do this. Okay, we're back. This piece might be long enough. I haven't measured yet, but I think it might be close. So, back to where we were. I'm going to take and make a mark on my piece of cardboard here. Nice, perfectly straight line. Then I'm going to measure over the 8 3/4 that I measured off the speaker. Put another perfectly straight line right there. Then I'm going to measure the same thing across the speaker, and that's about 5 3/4. First thing I'm gonna do, I got 7 inches there, so 3 1/2 would be half of that. And what's half of 8 3/4? Anybody know off the top of your head? Yeah, me neither. Okay, so it's gonna be 4 7/16, I think. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to mark 4 7/16. And I'll come over and measure this side. Hey, look at that. I was right for once. Okay, so I'll take my 2 marks there. And that's my center. And I'll come back down here on this line. Mark my center here. And the same thing down here. Now I can draw lines through this and make sure that I get it where I need it to be. So 5 3/4 is going to be 2 1/2 3/4 7/16. So 5 would be 2 1/2 plus 7/16. I'm terrible at math, especially fractions, in case you hadn't noticed already. I got 2 7/8, 2 7/8. Okay, I'm figuring it out. Now I'm gonna roughly try to make the shape of the speaker here. I actually am intentionally trying to go a little bit smaller than it needs to be, because if I make it too big, I screw up my template. So for the first cut, I just want to get it semi-close, and then I can come back and fine-tune it. Or maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be right the first time, but I doubt it. Okay, I'm going to cut that out and then we'll test fit it on the speaker and see how it goes. Okay, after all that, finally got it to fit. It fits a little bit tight, but that's fine, because once we transfer it to the metal, it's really easy to take a little bit of sandpaper and clean it out just a little bit. So we want it to be kind of tight, that way we know it's going to be a good fit. So that goes on there pretty good. Now that that's done, I'll take my template center it up on here, and we'll trace that, and then we'll go over and I'll cut it out. You see the marks I made? Yeah, you can see them. As you can see, these clearly aren't made for 6x9s. It gets close to the edge, and right here in this corner the speaker's going to hit, so I'm going to have to trim that out or massage it a little bit or something so the speaker sits in there. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll oh, it sounds like somebody's here. Hang on. Alright, well, I was going to finish up or get close to finishing up the cab corner speakers for Longstep, but my buddy showed up and wanted me to take a look at something on his truck, and we ended up shooting the bull for a little while, and it's time to go home, and I really wanted to finish this video today. So that's going to do it for this video. I will finish filming the speaker install on this for another video. So if you hit the subscribe button, they'll let you know when I do that. So you should go do that. But that's going to be it. Thank y'all for watching. If you're interested in helping me donate to a veteran charity, I'm going to put the link right here, buymeacoffees.com/HarmonGarage. And I think I figured out how to make an active link in the description, so I'm going to throw it down there for you too. If you don't want to or you can't, I completely understand, but I'm going to try to match everything that we get and donate to a charity. So once we get a decent amount up there to donate, I'll pick a charity and I'll let everybody know. And then when it comes time to do the donation, I'll make a video about that too. So if you're interested in helping, hit the link in the description. And y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.